this is Lisa from Lisa Mears Card Designs. Welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, go ahead and click the subscribe button so that you can see more videos of card making tutorials. Today, for today's video, I am going to use the Gina K Designs Wreath Builder template, and I'm going to make some fall themed cards, some Thanksgiving cards, and I'm also going to be using the Gina K Designs. This is the Autumn Wreath Builder stamps, as well as the fall color Gina K Designs inks. I'm also going to be using my Misty, because when you use the Wreath Builder, you have to use a stamping tool in order to position the stamps. So basically the Wreath Builder, what it's going to do is it's going to allow me to build in the shape of a wreath different stamps. So it'll be in a circular shape, and I can build upon all these little stamp shapes, the leaves and the pumpkins and the acorn, and I can build it in a circular shape around my cardstock. So basically, when you have the Wreath Builder, this is the 3 3/4 and 4-inch Wreath Builder template. So it comes with both sizes, and on the back of this, it tells you how to use the Wreath Builder template. So specific instructions: cut your cardstock to either 3 3/4 or 4, depending on which template you're using. So I went ahead and cut my white cardstock down to 4 inches because I'm going to be using the 4-inch template, and the cardstock that I'm using is the Gina K white cardstock, and I will try and find that and link that below. All of these products, except for the Misty, the stamps, the Wreath Builder, and the inks, I did purchase at the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo in Orlando back in, I think it was in May, when they came back in May, and I purchased it at the Craft Fancy booth. They actually had a workshop that I attended on how to use the Wreath Builder, and we got a gift certificate to use at their shop, and this is what I purchased. So I want to go ahead and make these making some Thanksgiving cards today. So I'm going to go ahead and take my, I'm going to take my cardstock. Actually, before I take my cardstock, I need to select which Wreath Builder that I want to use. So I'm going to I cut this down to 4 inches, and I want to make sure that my cardstock fits inside of this square shape, and it doesn't fit inside this one, so this must be the 3 3/4 one. So I'm going to switch to this one. This is the 4-inch Wreath Builder, and notice how it fits perfectly inside of this square. So I'm going to place my cardstock inside of the square, and then I'm going to use my magnets to hold that down. So I'm going to go ahead and take one of these leaf stamps, and I'm just going to position it where I think I might want it to go. And once I have it where I want it, I'm going to close the top plate of my Misty. Okay, so I'm going to ink up my stamp, and then I'm going to stamp that down. Okay, so there is one stamp. Now I'm going to keep my stamp in the same position on my stamping platform, and the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cardstock and I'm going to move it to the first triangle. So I rotate it one turn, and then I do the same thing. I'm going to stamp up the leaf. Let me move this just a bit, and then I'm going to press that down. Again, I'm going to lift the magnets. I'm going to rotate this one more turn, and since I had this in the top right-hand corner, I know it shifted. I can just go ahead and scoot it back up there, and one turn to the right leaves me at this flat edge up, and I'm going to stamp my leaf again. And then I'm going to keep doing the same process, so rotating it another turn, stamping, and same process. So rotate again. Now I'm at the flat edge. Ink that up, stamp that down. And the nice thing about the Misty is that if I don't get a clear, sharp impression, I can always stamp again and press it back down because it stays in the same spot. And those of you that have watched my videos before, you've seen me use this in the past. And we're going to keep rotating until we get back to the beginning, and we're not quite there yet. So we'll stamp this up. And I believe we have one more turn. Okay, so there is my leaf. So I finished that one. And now I am going to move on to a different stamp from this stamp set. And I think I will go with the pumpkin stamp. Let me turn this straight. And if wherever I put this pumpkin stamp, that's where it's going to appear when I rotate the whole thing around. So there would be pumpkins in between all of these. And with the pumpkin, I'm going to go with this tomato soup ink. So I position it where I want it. Put my platform down. Let me scoot that up a bit. Ink up my stamp. Press down. And same process. So I'm going to turn one more turn. Okay, turn again. Ink up, and notice it's the same position every time I turn. Love this. And you can do this with any stamps that you have. So it doesn't have to be the Gina K stamps. You can do it with, if you have stamps from Lawn Fawn or Stamps of Life or any company that you have stamps for. Obviously, it couldn't be real gigantic stamps. It would have to be the smaller ones, but you can definitely use this wreath builder with various stamps. Now, I know that there are other size wreath builders out there. I don't recall off the top of my head what the sizes are, but I do know that there are larger ones for larger paper. But I am using, I believe this is the smallest one that they have. So again, this is the 4-inch or the 3 1/4 inch is the one that I had purchased. And there is my last one. So we'll ink that last one up. Okay, and here we go so far. Very pretty. Okay, so I'm taking another leaf stamp and I'm positioning it in the inside. Just a little bit on the inside. And I'm going to close this. Trying to keep that turned, but I don't think it's going to work. Okay, and we will go ahead and use a lighter ink. This is called Sweet Corn. Actually made a circle on the inside. I think that looks really, really nice. And now I'm just going to add one more thing. I have an acorn here. I think I'm going to add this acorn just every so often, just around these leaves. And it's going to overlap. And I'm going to use a darker brown. Here I'm going to rotate 2 times, so we've got 1, 2. So 1, 2. and 1, 2. Look how pretty that is. Beautiful for Thanksgiving. So now to put my card together, I have a piece of white cardstock. This is an 85-pound cardstock, and I cut this down so that it's 4 1/4 by 4, actually 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. And then I have 2 pieces of pattern paper. This one is the larger piece. This is also 4 1/2 by 4 1/2, and that is going to cover over the complete top of this white cardstock. And then the smaller piece, the green, is just slightly smaller than that. That's 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. So we're gonna just cover the complete top over this. And then this one will go right over top of that. And I know that it's quite small. You can't really see some of the print on the pattern paper. You can just see just a little bit, but I like the colors because I thought that the colors match some of these inks really well. And if I were to do this over again, I probably would go with the smaller template, or just make a bigger card base just so I can see a little bit more of the green in the background. So that's gonna go right over the top there. So I'm just taking out my Misty and I'm positioning that right in the center. Hold that down. We're gonna ink that up in green. And we'll do that again because the word blessings didn't come out all the way. So that is a quick, simple, easy Thanksgiving card with just stamping, and just layered a couple pieces of cardstock there, and I think that came out absolutely beautiful using the Wreath Builder. For my next card, I am using another piece of this Gina K Designs white paper, and I cut this down to 3 1/4, so 3 1/4 by 5 inches. And I'm using my 3 1/4 inch Wreath Builder. So when I place this in here on this flat side, it fits perfectly. So remember, this came with 2. If you put it in the 4 inch, you'll see that it actually doesn't fit. So you'll know you need to go to the smaller one. So place your Wreath Builder, the very top hand corner of your Misty or whatever stamping tool you have, and then go ahead and lock that down with your magnets. Next, we'll go ahead and place the stamp where we want it to go. I guess maybe, well, we'll start over here. And we'll have to reposition that because that magnet came off. Okay, and then we will go ahead and use our ink and ink that stamp up. And this is called Faded Brick. That's the ink I'm using for this leaf die, or leaf stamp, I'm sorry. And we'll go ahead and turn this. Now you'll notice that this doesn't fit all the way inside of this square in the Wreath Builder, but that's okay. So we'll go ahead and turn this to the next position. And stamp that up again. And could just continue to turn it. So now we're on our flat edge. We have to make sure that we've lined it up here in the corner. And I'm going with a bigger piece of cardstock because I want a bigger panel for my card. So here I'm lining it up. next I'm going to take my small leaves and I'm going to place them where I want them. And grab that with my Misty. Now I'm going to use a green ink. This is the Fresh Asparagus. Next, I'm going to take a different style leaf and I'm going to put it in the middle of the leaves that are already stamped. And the ink that I'm using is going to be the honey mustard ink. So next I'm going to take my acorn and I'm just going to put it between where these leaves connect. And this time I'm using my sweet corn ink. Taking just a small tiny flower that came with my original stamp set with the Wreath Builder, and I just want to fill in the gaps between. So I'm going to be using my peach, what is this, peach Bellini, and I'll be stamping those. Just add a little bit extra color and fill in some of those gaps. Next, I'm just going to take a few of my Spectrum Noir markers and I'm just going to fill in the color of these acorns. So I'm going to stamp the sentiment at the bottom, and this is the So Grateful for You sentiment, and I'm using my faded brick ink. And then I'm going to come in with a leaf and just put a small leaf just next to it. That's going to be in green. This is the Fresh Asparagus ink. And we'll do it again on the opposite side. It's not going to be going down, it's actually going to be going up just because that's the shape of the stamp, but that's okay. Okay, and there it is. So we'll go ahead and assemble our card. Okay, so we're going to start out with a white card base. This is the A2 size, which measures the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I took a piece of pattern paper in a red color, and I cut that to the same size as my card base, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I don't want any of the edges showing, so I'm going to go ahead and just put that right over top. And then I cut a piece of green pattern paper. This is measured at 4 by 5 1/4. And then we will go ahead and adhere this stamped panel directly over top of the green. And there is my finished card. So that is a quick and easy Thanksgiving card, or just a thank you card in general, fall card. So here are the two cards that I used, or I made with the Gina K Designs Wreath Builder. So one is a smaller wreath, and then the other, same size wreath, it's just on a little bit longer piece of white cardstock, so you can make a bigger card out of it. So those are my two cards. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Be sure once again to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more card making tutorials, and follow me on Instagram at Lisa Mears Card Designs. Bye-bye.